Okay, we only have 5 minutes, so let's begin with the video. Listen, this is a first warning that I gotta give you guys, okay? They can love you, but they'll still cheat sometimes. Like, it's very important to understand that. Some guys have a split personality where they want short-term sex, but also long-term goals. And that usually happens because of trauma as a child, right? A lot of times they usually tend to be highly successful people, highly creative people, highly motivated people who are dopamine driven people. You understand? People have two parts. They have a long-term desire and a short-term desire. And usually you can see that by just how successful or how energetic they can be. Or even just looking at his father and how he treats his mom. And if his mom or dad cheated on each other, that's an example that he's seen. He's seen that love comes with cheating, right? So just because a guy can genuinely love you and cheat on you, it's kind of romantic if you ask me, right? And I say that because this is something a lot of women misconstrued, that why does he love me and cheats on me? Well, because he's flawed, right? And unfortunately, you can't just go off of by the people who love you. You got to go off of their character, right? And understand first is that judging a man by his character matters more than by how much he loves you. And usually, if you judge them by how much he loves you, it's usually a reflection of low self-esteem, because you're not really looking at the compatibility. You're just looking at the validation, the crack hit you get from somebody worshiping you, right? It raises our self-esteem. And by the way, people, I gotta tell you guys, don't forget I have a free gift for you guys. It's an audiobook and an ebook, and you guys can get that free gift by clicking on the description down below. And additionally, you guys can purchase my t-shirts like the one that I have. And these are my paintings that I do, okay? You guys can purchase them, and it's a way to support the channel and also a way to get good clothes, people, because I paint good clothes, man, okay? So do that now, or else I'm closing the channel. And if you guys want to work with me one-on-one and book a phone call to teach you guys how to make a man fall in love, you guys can click on the description down below to do that. If you don't do that, I'm closing the channel. Let's continue. So look, the next thing is that, oh shit, people, sorry about this. Understand, some men have a time limit of how long they can love you. That's a fact. Some men don't have love stamina. They're too distracted. They go from person to person. It's a way that their brain function. It's not a reflection of you. But if you're attracted to that, it is a reflection of you, right? Some men can love you for life. Some men cannot. And this all depends on the examples they've had growing up. That's why I tell people, judge a person by their family, right? It'll tell you a lot how they're going to treat you based on what he saw growing up as a creepy child, right? And so focus on his family dynamics. It'll tell you how he'll love you. Don't let your ego get flattered. If he tells you that daddy smacks the shit out of mommy, don't think you got that magical pum pum to prevent that dynamic from happening, because life and family dynamics repeat themselves. And that is an undeniable fact. So the first way that men fall in love is through pain. Maybe you pull away. Maybe you criticize them. For example, maybe they did something wrong, and you criticize them and say, yo, I don't like the fact that you disrespected me in front of my friends. I don't like that. Like, you talk to me, and he'll feel offended, he'll feel sad. You know, when somebody says that, you kind of feel bad about yourself. And that feeling bad makes them want to what? Fix the issue. So it's almost like men fall in love through pain. They sense that you're leaving, or you put them or maybe you're absent, or maybe you go on vacation and they miss you, and that's when they realize they love you. But also they fall in love through conflict, where you and them are encountering incompatibilities. And then you talk about it. And you say, yo, I don't like the fact that you every time you come, you leave a mess. And it's awkward to tell that to someone, right? Like, it's awkward to confront them. And they also feel awkward. But that awkwardness is what causes them to feel so bad that they'll want to reconciliate. And also, they'll see that you have a backbone, right? And they'll gain respect. And so every time you guys encounter incompatibility, it doesn't push them away. In fact, it reveals their character, because if they get defensive at you calling them out on their bullshit, they will pull away and they will start to act narcissistic. That should be your cue to get the fuck out of here, right? That should be your cue to get out, right? Not to beg, but to get out, because conflict and inflicting pain brings out a person's true character. Like Robert Greene said, stir the water to bring out the fish, some shit like that. Meaning create conflict to bring out a man's true character. Now, you don't have to create conflict. Conflict will arise. Incompatibilities will arise. They will do things that you don't like, and all you gotta do is just talk about it. And if they get defensive, and if it turns into a show, an episode of Jerry Springer, if they go Bronx mode, that's just too cute to get the fuck out. But sometimes you also fall in love through pain, where they'll start to gaslight you, and you give in. You can't be doing that, boo boo. Next one. So through pain, they fall in love superficially. This is dangerous. They see you as an object, a trophy wife. They feel entitled to you, and this can be dangerous. They don't really love you. Well, it's their form of love, objectification of you, and they feel validation not because of you, but because of what other people think of them being with you. This is where the mobster is with the hot wife, the really sexy wife, or like Floyd Mayweather, who married a trophy wife and she ended up cheating on him. These are all superficial relationships, and usually the ones that accept it are people who have no connections with themselves, who only rely on people validating them based on their looks, right? And they're usually men of high achievers who want a woman as a trophy. They can't love women in any other way. In The Godfather, there was a scene in the book where this woman was teasing this guy, and she was fucking with him, like just like saying, "Hit me, Johnny. Hit me. I know you fucking want to hit me, you little bitch." And Johnny wanted to hit her, but then he looked at her face and she was so angelic, and he stopped himself. And the woman was like, "Look at the way I control him." And the guy was like, "My God, she's so beautiful. I don't want to hurt her, so let me punch her in the stomach." And a lot of people have that type of love where it's only skin deep. And that is very dangerous. And it's usually people who are rich, people who are powerful, and really attractive couples get into this type of dynamic. Let's go outside and we'll go into the blackboard and teach you guys a little bit more of a healthy way of falling in love.
All right, the next one is that they fall in love at a distance. These guys never had intimacy with their parents, and so they never learned to open up. And when you never learn to express your feelings, when you never learn to talk about how you feel, it creates pent-up anxiety. I mean, a lot of the times this does lead to addiction and compulsive behavior. So guys who can only love you at a distance, it's truly because they learn to fall in love with a fantasy. Understand, when you can't handle reality, when life is too painful, you escape into your mind. And you start to fantasize about being in love. You start to fantasize about finding somebody that you love. And what happens accidentally, because you don't interact as much, or you never got the opportunity to open up, you end up just falling in love with a phantom, right? And what this does is that when they actually do meet you, they get excited at first because they finally saw reality. They finally are seeing their dreams come true, but then they get disenchanted because they never actually dealt with the physical world. They've been isolated because of pain, because of trauma, and when they have to interact with the physical reality, they pull away. What they don't realize is that they lack the self-awareness to understand that they're not really looking for a relationship. They're looking for a fantasy that they become the center of. Because if you really think about it, most of these fantasies are not realistic. Why? Because it's not interactive. It's usually me, me, me. Self-consuming people, self-obsessed people, right? And so these guys will only like you if you pull away. These guys will only like you once you leave. And then that's when they come back. Because in their minds, they interact with you more with their minds than in the physical reality. So these are the types of guys that I like to call, they're avoidant. And they kind of confuse people. And they might like you, but they're just not capable of interacting with someone in a physical way, in a real way, and consistently. They get too anxious, right? And so these guys that becomes problematic. And these are the types of guys that as soon as you leave, they come back and give you what you want. You don't want that. It's exhausting to deal with people like that, right? The next one is that they fall in love. Oh shit, people! I forgot to check out the notes. They fall in love slowly and through boring time. This is the healthy ones, right? Where these are the types of guys that at first, they don't start off with a lot of intensity, right? At first, they don't start off with love bombing. In fact, it might make some women insecure that they're not really guarding over them. They're not really obsessing over them, right? Women who might like the obsessive man, the guy who love bombs you, some women may not be able to handle that type of that. They might need more validation. And so these guys will only attract women who have a healthy attachment style because they don't go slow. And I know some of you ladies are watching, you guys find guys who don't validate you quickly unattractive or boring. But the problem is that that's how it is. Guys that are healthy will fall in love through boring time. Now, what's boring time? Boring time is simple. Spending time together, watching a movie, right? Not like fucking climbing the Mount Everest and then doing the spinneroonie at the peak, right? They don't need that much stimulation. They only need a couch and a TV. Watching TV, looking at the sun, reading a book together, or just being silent together. Over time, through osmosis, you get used to each other and you fall in love with each other. But the problem with that is that it requires self-esteem on your part. You might be used to guys praising you, worshiping you, kissing the feet that you walk on, and a healthy guy like that, you'll find it boring. It's like I was gonna say fat ass. It's like a big dude who doesn't like vegetable because he's used to eating fast food, right? This is an acquired taste. And unfortunately, you have to learn how to do that. And how do you do that? Well, you got to learn how to regulate your emotion. You rely on guys worshiping you to feel better about yourself. When you learn to regulate and feel better about yourself without guys love bombing you, all of a sudden, your attraction to certain guys will shift. And you'll be more attracted to guys that take it more slowly. This will automatically filter out the toxic guys that rely on love bombing, that rely on toxicity, right? Rely on drama. And so what happens is that these types of guys will fall in love with you, and at first they may not like you too much. They like you, but you know what I'm saying, they get used to you. But then one day, maybe you pull away, or maybe you cancel a date because something happened, they'll realize, oh my God, like I'm developing feelings for this person. And usually the way it happens is that they wake up in the morning and they realize they love you. It's not that you inflict pain and they realize they love you. They wake up in the morning and they're like, oh my God, I'm in love with this person. Or they'll look at you and they're like, wait a minute, I'm actually in love. It's a slow process that takes 1 or 2 months. You don't want crackhead love where they fall in love with you quickly and start fucking doing the Harlem Shake like Tyrone Biggums. No, slow is the way to go. By the way, you guys can purchase these t-shirts by checking out my t-shirt store, and I also have other t-shirts based on paintings that I do because I'm an artist, people. So I do a lot of art, so you guys can purchase it on the description down below where it says check out the t-shirts.
The next one is they fall in love with your flaws. This is where people who have empathy, who had flawed parents, who had narcissistic parents and they wanted to save them, this is where they'll fall in love with your flaws, meaning they'll fall in love. Maybe you're somebody who is depressed, and because of your depression, they feel so much sympathy that they fall in love with you. Maybe you're somebody who's drug addicted, and their desire to help you accidentally makes them fall in love. It's where the psychologist falls in love with the client, right? Men who had mothers who were depressed and unbalanced will find your flaws attractive, and their desire to help you will cause them to fall in love over time. It's kind of similar to boring time, but you gotta understand this one. I mean, I don't see that bad, But the problem is that sometimes they fall in love with someone that they try to fix. And over time, it gets exhausting. And sometimes they'll fall in love with your flaws, but eventually they'll want you to change your flaws, but they don't realize that your flaws are permanent. That's who you are as a person. You can't change that. So these are the types of people that will love you initially, right? They'll fall in love with a stripper, and then they'll ask their stripper girlfriend to stop stripping. Or the escort will fall in love with the client, and then the escort would tell the client, stop seeing all the girls, right? These are traumatic bonds that are very strong, but the beauty about these bonds is that they can get over you if they find somebody else who's flawed and pays attention to them, right? Because what they really want is validation of their self-worth through fixing you. And you become a project to them. But the problem is that these types of people, if you really look at their history, they might be still in love with someone in the past that they couldn't fix. And now you're the next person. And so a lot of it is projection. And you'll start to see so many flaws as you start to get to know them that you'll realize that it may not be worth the time. And this is where, if you notice that somebody had narcissistic parents, a lot of the times to make them fall in love is just to highlight your flaws, man. They'll want to rescue you. It's an instinct. In fact, they might be in careers where they want to help people. They might be nurses, they might be psychologists, they might be animal people. They have like altruistic desires, but a lot of the times is a reaction to narcissism. So they also might have a reverse form of narcissism, where if you're not broken, they may not love you, but if you are, they'll help you. In fact, sometimes they might even sabotage you, right? It's a weird world but that's how people are. You have to watch out for these individuals and understand that usually the healthiest ones are the ones that go slowly. Even this one will go fast, because what you'll notice is that you have your flaws, but they don't really care, and which is good. It feels validating, but over time they'll want you to change. And again, it's not that they love you because they accept you. They love you because they have sympathy for you, and then they want to change you. And so you got to be careful with that, because it's not easy to change as a person. Yeah, dude. Oh, and one more thing, man. To become attracted to the right person, develop true self-esteem. Because usually the toxic attractions are to people, let me put this up, are to people who don't know how to feel better. And so they feel better by fixing people and getting people's reactions. Meditate. So I tell you guys, develop self-esteem. Check out my course, Emotional Mastery, right? Or you could check it out on the description down below. Check out a meditation retreat by going to this one. It's free, dharma.org, right? It'll teach you how to develop an ecosystem of positive emotion. Develop a habit, meditate, draw, learn how to paint, have hobbies, be around people. Allow yourself to find happiness outside of these creepy motherfuckers. What's gonna happen is that you're gonna naturally, over time, change your taste and become attracted to those who are good for you. All right? Don't forget, check out the free gift. If you wanna support the channel, you guys can buy my paintings, my clothing, and check out the free gift. And I also have one-on-one sessions. And you can check out the one-on-one session on the description down below. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much, man. You guys have really supported this channel. This channel is blowing up. Okay. So if you guys want to check out my other videos, the last video that I made is how detachment plays with a man's emotion. Right. It'll teach you guys how to detach in a way to stimulate desire in a guy. So check it out on the description down below, or just go to my video library, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.